Hey there, welcome. This is the James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to the big show. Look, I worry that you think that we're just doing the same show and rerunning off the same notes what I did a couple days ago. I worry that when you turn it on, you have to go, is this a rerun or is James live today? Well, I'll tell you, it's Juneteenth, so if that helps anything, so you know it's live. But there is another Biden freeze video. I have another piece of audio that we're going to start off in the next segment playing for you. And I will describe what you're missing visually, but the audio's enough. I mean, this guy is he's starting to make me question my soft stance on this because the questions are being asked, is this guy going to be here with us in 4 years? And he may be alive, but he might be in hospice or assisted living or something. This guy is deteriorating so fast in front of our eyes. It's not funny. I don't enjoy this, but I do enjoy watching people who are not demented or senile make excuses for this dude. And so goes it for the craziest election cycle in your life. My first guest, Elizabeth Pipko from the Republican. Oh, nope. Her phone dropped. Well, we're going to talk to a spokesman from the RNC. And I would like to go ahead and roll this carpet out. We invite Democrats on the show. Like when we have the head of the Tarrant County Republican Party on, but Beau French, he's been on like 2 or 3 times in the last couple months just because they're doing so much over there. If you're the head of the Democrat Party of Tarrant County and you would like to rebut that, all you got to do, float me an email, give me a call, call in and ask the phone screener, say, hey, I want to get in touch with James. I want to counter some of this. We'd be happy to do it. I do not mind having opposing voices on this show. In fact, I prefer it because I think it's more entertaining to hear people that disagree than hear people that agree. But here she is, Elizabeth Pipko from the RNC. Thank you for spending some time on the James Show. I know that y'all are super busy considering the first debate is right around the corner. And with all these freezes coming up, is there some angle y'all are going to take to try and maybe induce a freeze? Can Trump sneak like a strobe light on there or like jiggle his keys or something?
First of all, great to be here. Thanks for having me. Look, unfortunately, I don't think there's anything President Trump even has to do to encourage any more of these embarrassing moments, let's call them. The fact is that there is a caricature of President Trump out there and a caricature of Joe Biden out there based on the media's depiction of them over the last few years. And America is finally going to see the truth in front of their eyes on the 27th. That means 2 candidates that have to defend not only their own administrations for nearly 4 years each, but also their own behavior, their ability to answer questions, their plans for the future. And I think the comparison is going to be very stark, but very obvious come debate time.
All right, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're welcome to not answer this because maybe it's inside information here. But from the outside world, people that talk to me that listen to this show, a lot of them think that Joe Biden is going to be replaced. Now, you work for the RNC. Do you guys have some sort of contingency plan for like if Hillary candidacy gets rolled out or if they upgrade Kamala from vice president to president or maybe they bring Michelle Obama out of the woodwork? Do y'all have a backup plan? Are y'all expecting like maybe that could happen?
Look, we're not expecting anything. Then again, if we've learned anything from the last 8 or so years since America has known the candidate or the president that is Donald Trump, we've learned to expect the unexpected. However, I don't think we need a backup plan. We have the best possible candidate in this race, the best possible candidate to be president. I'm confident, we're all confident in his ability to beat no matter who it is that the Democrats put up. And we're also confident in America knowing that the Republican ticket, the Republican Party, and Donald Trump is the obvious choice. So we're ready for truly anything come November.
Well, the listeners to my show have probably heard the names that are on the vice presidential short list for Trump. I know it's his decision, but does the RNC have a preference?
So it's a good question, just because I think if you know President Trump, you know how much he actually takes into consideration the advice and the thoughts of people around him. He's kind of known for being very open to listening to take advice to literally anyone that's around him. He's very curious. I think that's why he relates to people so much. But I will say everything is up to him in this case. We do not have a preference. We have a large roster in the Republican Party, something I don't think the Democrats can say. We're very proud of that. And I think no matter who he chooses, it's going to be a great pick and the obvious choice in this election.
All right. So in the election of 2020, There were 5 jurisdictions, 5 voting places where they said, oops, we're going to have to stop counting the votes for a minute around midnight or so. Some of them went as far as to put up plywood in the windows and kick everyone out. What's the RNC doing to make sure something like that doesn't happen again?
So there's a lot of things that we're doing in terms of election integrity in general. That means lawsuits around the country, whether it has to do with people not being able to vote without proper identification, or when we continue to count mail-in ballots, for example, when we stop doing that, which should be done on Election Day, obviously. But with your particular question, there actually is a lot that we're doing, and people can get involved and help us themselves. You can go to protectthevote.com. You can actually volunteer to help us. We need poll watchers, poll workers around the country who can make sure that they're on top of what's going on and can make sure that we have the freest, fairest, and safest election possible, which is really simple ask of the American people and truly what they deserve.
Oh, Elizabeth, but we don't have a whole lot of listeners in Fulton County, and that's what I'm worried about. We lock ours down around here. I mean, this state's going Trump anyway, no matter what votes people try and steal. But, it's just a handful of places in these hyper blue jurisdictions and otherwise swing states that we're all very suspicious if they try that again come November.
No, I get it. I don't blame you. And it's not just you, right? We hear from the American people daily about how they're nervous, they're suspicious, and they're hopeful for a safe election, but they are obviously very, very justified in their concerns. I think knowing what we know that happened in 2020, being able to list off some of the districts or the counties even that you just mentioned means that the American people are fully aware as well. They saw what happened. They want a change. They want to make sure that not just this election, but all future elections are safe and free and fair. And I'm sure Americans will stand up in every single district in this country and make sure that we have that.
Why aren't Republicans shouting more? And I don't mean small R Republicans, I mean official ones like you, trying to get every mail-in ballot and early voting and absentee voting, trying to scale all that back down to just one-day voting. Because, if France can do it, why can't we do it here? It seems like that would be a huge issue for you guys, concerning election integrity, is getting rid of some of the avenues by which they cheated.
No, and it's a very fair question, and there are a lot of American people that ask us this on the daily, right? Like I hear about this all the time, and the fact is these are the avenues that are being used right now. These are the avenues that the other side is using, and unless they can stop using them, unless we can make sure no one uses them, we have to keep it a fair fight. We have to make sure that we're doing everything that they're doing and more. And the fact is that they are focused on absentee ballots, they're focused on mail-in ballots, early in-person voting. All of these are options, and if they're using them, we have to use them as well, and we have to use them better to make sure that we win this November.
Elizabeth Pipko from the RNC, thanks for being on the James Show.
Thanks for having me.
Coming up next, you're going to hear the latest brain fart from your president, and then we're going to ask some really hard questions. And I'm not saying this for hyperbole or for sensational effect or just because I'm on the radio and I'm trying to get ratings, but seriously, do you think Biden will still be with us in 4 years? 4 years from today, will Biden still be with us? I mean, will he be alive, but maybe in a hospice camp? Will he just be in a robe in some mental facility somewhere? Because I have some people saying, will he be alive in November? Look, he's not declining that fast. But, I mean, on top of the will he be replaced, will he make it through the debate without being exposed? Do you think this guy has 4 years left? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. I'm James Parker. It's The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP. Now on FM at 93.3. Welcome to the big show, because I'm going to play you it's another day, another Biden short circuit. And in the one that I was playing with you, we were just giggling at it the last couple days, was where he stopped on stage at the fundraisers that they had over the weekend. And it looked like when your controller disconnected, if you ever play Xbox or PlayStation, you have one of those wireless controllers. Sometimes when you're playing, it just loses connection and it takes like 10 seconds for it to resync with the console, and then you can start running again. But meanwhile, there's all kinds of action happening around you, and you're playing as Han Solo or whoever else, and you're just standing there like totally still, and it looks really awkward. That's what it looked like. Well, this one is different. My country bumpkin brethren out there, you ever run into an electric fence? That's what this one is. This is not your controller disconnected. This is whenever you're not paying attention and you just take a step backwards. And so that's what we did today. And look at this. Elaine, hang on. Elaine, Fort Worth. You're on News Talk 820 93.3 FM WBAP. I haven't even played the audio for you, and you're already saying there's no way Biden's going to make it much longer? Elaine, are you with me? Yeah, your phone just broke up. Try that again, Elaine. I bet it works. No, it just totally dropped. That's funny. I hadn't even played the audio. She's already writing him off. Wait until you hear this audio. This will make it even worse. She's going to have to call back and double down. So the guy that Biden is trying to refer to, his name is Mayorkas. When you hear that, he's trying to say Mayorkas. And it's not that difficult of a name. I mean, it's just spelled mayor with K-A-S on the end of it. It doesn't have like an umlaut or like a backwards R or an upside down E or anything. It's just Mayorkas.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband.
Never heard that
Thanks
before.
to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas, as well as Secretary Becerra.
Did you hear that? What you don't see, you heard it, but what you don't see is his eyebrows went up as much as the Botox will possibly allow, which isn't much, but for him, it's more expression than you've seen in the last 10 years. And his chin kind of went down like he was trying to put it into his chest. Like if you were trying to make your face look like Eric Cartman from South Park and you wanted to give yourself a double chin, because, like, you're fat now. That's what he did with his chin. His chin went down, his eyebrows went up, and he looked like the face I make when I accidentally back into the electric fence on the horse ranch. I know not everyone can relate to that. If you're from Highland Park, you've never seen an electric fence. That's all right. Just trust me. This is what it looks like, and probably what it feels like because, I mean, those things hurt.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband. Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas, as well as Secretary Becerra, and advocates and families for law enforcement, faith leaders, everybody's is here. 2 weeks ago.
All right, there's actually some substance, and maybe we'll dig into some of the meat and potatoes of what he was putting forth, but it's the stutters. You know, the meat and potatoes should matter more than the stutters, but I don't think they do. I think at this point, you're about to reach a lot of people's threshold for how loosely they will tolerate a guy's mental decline, and he may have been past that threshold a long time ago. Elaine in Fort Worth, thanks for calling back. How much time you think Biden's got? You think he'll be with us in 4 years?
Oh, he may still be here, but I don't think he'll be functional.
You think he's just going to be in like a wheelchair, being pushed around in a assisted living facility, eating pudding?
Well, he should be. In 2 years, I think he will be. I mean, I think it was a shame that 4 years, family, particularly his wife, would even allow him to go through what he did and how fast he has progressed with the dementia, Alzheimer's. I mean, it's so obvious.
Well, how dare you question Jill Biden? You know she's an actual doctor.
Well, I won't say anything about that. Yeah, but she doesn't specialize in Alzheimer's and dementia, obviously, and so.
No, she has a PhD in like education, like Johnny has two daddies or whatever. So does the other half of the country that needs to wake up and think about their vote, does this make them think about it?
I don't think a lot of people that are so set on voting Democrat, I don't think it matters who it is. I think it's the party, which is such a shame because it's not the party, it's who is in office, who's making those decisions.
Well, I know, but look, not to play devil's advocate, I really believe this. I think the mental status of a candidate is secondary to what party they're in because, if you do believe the parties have a significantly different policy approach, I think it's almost negligible. But, I'm just trying to speak on behalf of Democrat or Republican voters. If you think the other side is so bad and your candidate's a little daffy, I can easily make the argument that a daffy free market capitalist would be a better president than a socialist who's sharp as a tack.
Well, and I agree with that. I think the thing that is pitiful is when you put somebody in like he is, the situation that he's presenting to the country and to internationally, I think makes for such an embarrassment for the United States, who's always been considered so strong. And, I think it's obvious that the other countries are running all over us.
Yeah, well,
they can.
I am sympathetic to the foreign policy argument, but that's not necessarily bad for you and me. That's just not really good for so much for the citizens of Ukraine or maybe the citizens of Gaza or on the other side of wherever they're lobbing the rockets into Israel. That's not real good. I mean, Taiwan's probably sweating bullets. We just had Putin sign a new military pact with Kim Jong-un in North Korea. So, yeah, that's bad for the rest of the world. It hadn't really had a negative effect on you and me, but I am sympathetic to that argument. Having a guy that's running around like a human Roomba, just bouncing off of walls, can inspire some bad actors around the world, like Iran and Putin and all these other guys. 800-288-WBAP, what do you think? Does this guy have 4 more years left? I mean, after the short circuit we had today, we're not stretching. We're not desperate. This is happening on an almost daily basis. Will he even make it through the debate? 800-288-WBAP. This is The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Who wants to hear the stutter again? Huh? Who wants to hear the short circuit? You ever watch Westworld? And when the robots, the little android robots, start having like that goo come out of their ears, they start doing a little freezy things, like a little glitch in the Matrix there. This is The James Show. I'm James Parker, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Yeah, okay, I have some good calls here, but I know you want to hear it again. So here's the latest stutter from your president.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband. Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas, as well as Secretary Becerra.
You ever been working on a car and you forgot to take the battery cable off? You ended up like zapping yourself. It's pretty close. Is this guy, does he even have 4 years left? I know I'm not asking it to be funny. I'm not asking it to be morbid. I'm not asking it to be condescending or partisan hacky. I mean, just seriously, this guy, 4 years, really? Who's voting for this? Charlotte and Rockwall. You're on News Talk 820, now 93.3 FM WBAP. What do you think, Charlotte?
Hey, how are you?
I'm great.
Good. Well, I enjoy your show. I try to listen to it as much as I can.
Well, thank you. I hear that from all the ladies.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you what. This isn't anything new for most of us that have been watching Joe Biden from the start. He is, we've seen these glitches along the way, those that have been honest and observant. But I truly feel they are lowering whatever they give him to make him more alert and to be more attentive. I think they've just stopped medicating him as much.
So that makes sense if this is like many medicines, something you can build up a tolerance to. So they would pull the rug out from under him for the week or two leading up to the debate. So whenever they do hit him with that cocaine dart in the neck or whatever they're going to do on debate day, it'll actually work for an hour and a half. I like that theory because that would make sense.
Let's think about it. Yeah, well, let's think about it. He lived in the basement pretty much throughout his entire campaign. So it wasn't like they medicated him a lot. He was hidden while Trump was traveling around, getting shot at by reporters, question after question after question, and he was just on some kind of medicated drip or whatever they do to get him, recharged, and then he would poke his head up. But now we keep seeing him more often, and it seems like we keep seeing him with others, like with Obama or with his wife, Dr. Jill, or he's with people that seem to be rescuing him.
Yeah, like a service dog. Right, follow me this way. Come on, here's the exit. Okay, it's time to go. Stop waving. Walk this way. Just like you saw Obama grab his hand. And look, and one of the other, and thank you very much for your call, Charlotte. One of the other concerns is, sure, maybe they are they're lowering his drugs and they're going to hit him really hard on debate night, but what happens if you hit him a little too much? I mean, is he going to have an aneurysm? Is he going to stroke out? And not that I delight in the suffering of my fellow human beings, but what an amazing, memorable, historic debate night that would be if Home Skillet short circuits on the stage. Let me take another call here. Kathy in Mesquite. You're on News Talk 820 and 93.3 FM WBAP. What do you think? This guy have 4 more years?
No, definitely not. He didn't have 4 to begin with. He should never have been elected. I agree with the caller ahead of me. he was having gaffes when he was running. I work in the medical field, and so does my husband, and we both saw it right off. He's got dementia.
Okay, so a lot of us are speculating, but since you work in the medical field, do you work in a field that sees this a lot? And if so, tell us the symptoms that you see. I find this talk fascinating.
Well, one of the first things are they'll forget things. They will, a lot of times their long-term memory as well. They tend to remember things that happened a long time ago, which you see with him. And he doesn't he can't keep up with his short-term memory. That's usually kind of a lot of the dementia starts that way. And they have cognitive issues to where they can't get their words out. They get lost.
Well, I've heard a couple of doctors observe that his walk is a dead giveaway for like a specific type of Parkinson's or dementia, or I forgot what the details were, but do you confirm that? That shuffling,
yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very toddler-like.
You're not sure of yourself, just like a toddler, because that part of you is not working. That part of your brain is not working the way it should.
Have you been watching close enough that you could put a timeline on him? Like, how much longer do you think he has?
Oh, I wouldn't. Not much. I wouldn't think he definitely does not have another 4 years. And I question the fact. I want to know who's been running the country, because it's obviously not him.
Well, he's not totally there right now. He's not 100% fit, but he can go out and read a teleprompter. He can answer some questions, even though, we know that they're scripted, and we know he's told who to call on, and we know it's going to be a friendly question. I mean, he's not completely Daffy Duck. He's still above a toddler, even though he walks like one. It's just because the question is, why would they do this if there's a time limit on how long they can hide it?
Because they have other people pulling the strings. I'm telling you, I know that sounds conspiracy theory, but somebody else has to be making the big decisions and putting them in his mind or head,
Kathy,
or whatever.
I think the opposite might be true. I think there's some people who are trying to tell him to quit, and the people who pull the strings want him to quit, but they can actually force him to quit unless they can convince him to do it voluntarily. And I think they've tried to get him to step down, and he refuses. And there's really nothing that the puppet masters can do ultimately if they can't convince him to do it on his own.
Well, then the House and Senate need to step in.
Well, then they will hit him with the big cocaine dart on debate night, because they need this dude to kill over so they have time to replace him, because we're running, and thank you very much for your call, Kathy in Mesquite, because we're running into the timeline issues of if they don't get this, if they want to replace him, they got to get him out, they got to get a new guy, they got to get him approved, and they really only have a few weeks to do it, because some of these states that have early voting and mail-in voting, they are starting to print their ballots in just like about a month or so. And if they don't get the new candidate in before the ballot printing starts, then what are you relying on? A write-in candidate? That's doomed for failure. So they have to make a move, I think, before the printing presses roll on some of these ballots. What do you think? 800-288-WBAP, 800-288-9227. Will this guy be alive and with us in 4 years? This is The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Hey there, welcome to The James Show, News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3. Remember, if you can't stay around for the rest of the show, you can catch some of the parts you missed on the podcast, WBAP.com, or more conveniently, I know most of you listen on your phone, because I track you. I see what the statistics are. I watch you, and I'm very proud of my audience, because more than half of you listen on an iPhone. These are the winners of the world, because if you have an Android, you're not a bad person. It's just your life didn't quite turn out the way you hoped it would. I mean, you're not at the pinnacle of your full potential, and I believe you can do better. But I'm not really beating you up over your phone. That's just a fun stereotype. But aside from the latest short circuit from your president, oh, what, you want to hear it again? All right. This is him stuttering, trying to say Mayorkas, and he has a short circuit like a robot in Westworld. But here it is again.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband.
Can we retire that joke?
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside, Secretary Mayorkas, as well as Secretary Becerra.
What does he say after that? I'm not sure going to goose you all the way. Something like that. Let's try that again.
My name's Joe Biden. I'm Jill Biden's husband.
I regret leaving that in there.
Thanks to all the members of Congress and Homeland Security Secretary. I'm not sure I'm going to introduce you all the way. But all kidding aside.
Not sure I'm going to do you all the way. Whatever. Hey, that's whatever gets you through it, man. He's having a hard time.
Come on, man.
I know. I'm not picking on you. I know you're in the decline there. I'm not trying to pick on the demented, but this is kind of a big deal. Now, other than making fun of him, the substance of what's going on behind the scenes and some of the policies that he's doing right now, whether it's the proposed amnesty or the student loans or the stuff that he's doing militarily and foreign policy, there's still a lot of new material from the laptop. And by new material, I don't mean that I'm just learning about it. I don't mean that you're just learning about it. You and I learned about this almost 4 years ago. But since there's no excuse anymore for people to not have the conversation, let's Russian misinformation, or we don't know if that's even legit, or this could have been a hacking, this could have been an Easter egg operation or bait and switch or whatever. No, it's none of that. It's none of that. So all the stuff that's in there, if all of that is true, then what is on that laptop has, I think it was like 329 identified felonies, whether it's the Foreign Agent Registration Act or tax evasion or taking bribes. And I mean, that not even counting all the crack. And one of the issues that came up is the finances that were released in this trial. We had Joe Biden report an income of, I believe it was $11 million in 2017. $11 million is what Biden reported an income in 2017. That is his the money he earned himself, the cut from all the stuff that Hunter was feeding to him. I guess I don't know if there's book royalties in there, but we know that's the number. Well, here he is in 2018, and look at what he's trying to tell you his net worth is. The year after he made $11 million.
I made a commitment. I'd never own a stock or a bond. I'd never be involved in a business venture. I'd never accept an honoraria. I kept the promise, and I sent my kids to private universities, and my net worth is what it was when I started, $55,000 to $150,000.
$55,000 to $150,000? That's not even believable. You're worth more than $55,000. Almost everybody listening to this show right now is worth more than $55,000. And we're supposed to believe a dude that was a senator for 46 years and then vice president for 8 years. And then he's just been hanging out for the last 2 years, not making any money. He's only worth $55,000. Does anybody believe that for a second that his net worth could have possibly been $55,000? Even on the high side, $150,000. Get out of here. That's not believable for anybody in the middle class. You can go through a suburb, throw a rock, whatever house you hit, go knock on the door. Those people are worth more than what Joe Biden said. So it wasn't even a believable lie at the beginning when he said it. But now we know it's such a huge lie. It begs the question, why would you lie about that? Why does a cheating husband lie about where he goes after work? It's not because he doesn't want you to know the truth about where he was necessarily. It's about what he was doing. He was doing something he didn't want you to know about. It's not the location that's the problem. It's what he was doing. It's not the fact that, he didn't pay all of his taxes. He's doing tax evasion. I'm not worried about tax evasion. I'm worried about the bribe behind the money. So there's about 12 of these that have popped up, these new little pieces of information that came out of this trial because we didn't know. We didn't have for certainty. We had leaks. We had people like me and you talking about, well, this is what it looks like. But so much of those air quote conspiracy theories were confirmed as conspiracy fact in this trial. And that should be a bigger story, but he can't stop short circuiting and freezing and stumbling and filling his diaper. I mean, this is the funniest, and I don't mean that in a good way, presidential election you have ever seen. Coming up next, another horrible idea from Team Blue. Seattle is now encouraging undocumented immigrants, illegal aliens, to join their police department. Should illegal immigrants be allowed to join the police department? We have a shortage here in Dallas. Should we try that here? We'll talk about that next on The James Show. News Talk 820 WBAP, now on FM at 93.3.